It's officially been over a week that Dragon Ball Daima has concluded, and I figured it would be an appropriate time to finally start asking questions on how the fandom feels now that it's been over a week and feelings and thoughts have finally started to settle in. So the best way to start this is let's go with a more positive route, shall we? On my YouTube profile, if you look at my community tab, I asked, give me one positive thing you loved about Dragon Ball Daima. And of course, I'll read some responses for an upcoming video. This is said video. So I'll get into some of my own thoughts in response to these responses, but I wanted to make this more about everyone else, so that way it doesn't seem so focused and centered on my own opinions, even though obviously this is my channel. But I want to make this feel like it is something that is unanimous amongst the fandom. So let's get into some of my favorite responses. I really liked the lore. I know Dragon Ball's lore is always a bit inconsistent, but Daima really delivered in the world building department, and I loved every second of it. Yeah, so the lore is something that I will always love seeing because we know Dragon Ball, I feel like sometimes, some more than others, like the back of our hands. We have been given plenty of opportunity over the years, especially during the original Dragon Ball drought when there was nothing new to consume. We went back several times, watched all of it over, whether it was Dragon Ball Z or GT, and we basically know or feel like we have a really good understanding of everything that the story has to offer. Now, whenever there's an opportunity to add more, and of course, this all started with Battle of Gods, learning about the universes and just the existence of gods of destructions and angels and that whole hierarchy, and just getting any new bits of information as the story gets told to us. It's always a bonus, and it makes you realize how much potential this show continues to have. I can definitely agree with that. The lore in this show, the added lore, I should say, was something that, of course, as a fan, makes me look forward to what they maybe have planned in the future. Throughout the season, the setup was good. It made you really think about what could happen next and how it would connect to the future of Dragon Ball. Yeah, that's a good one. Speaking of the future of Dragon Ball, obviously, I'm trying to keep this as positive of a video as possible because don't worry, I'm sure I'll be asking very soon, what bad thing? But we're not getting there yet. How Daima can connect to the future of Dragon Ball is of course up in the air, just based on a lot of fan speculation and theorizing and a lot of context taken out of context and a lot of misunderstanding and the spread of misinformation. Despite all of that, that is something that I definitely am going to be keeping an eye out and my ears perked, because Daima, despite it having its highs, of course, had some very crazy lows. I love how they showed us that they can always make us happy and exceed our expectations whenever they mention a Dragon Ball series coming out. Not only that the animation was peak and it felt like they actually cared about the lore, except that last episode, but overall peak. Yeah, I gotta say, the animation was phenomenal, especially during certain scenes that I'm sure you guys are remembering, and I'm pretty sure you guys are thinking of them right now. Anytime there was a transformation, anytime there was a major fight that was going on. I mean, hell, even some of the fights in the earlier episodes where it was Goku Mini fighting off against like grunts and other like bandits and whatnot, animation was very peak, as our boy Pineapple put it. Now, the one thing that I definitely wanted to shed light on this particular comment was that they can always make us happy and exceed our expectations whenever they mention a Dragon Ball series coming out. I want to highlight that part in particular, just due to the fact that that is so true. Think about it. Anytime they come out of the woodwork and they announce, hey, there's a new Dragon Ball project coming up, whether it's a new chapter or it's a new movie or a new series like Daima, it brings everyone together as far as how excited we can get. And despite Daima being in a very weird place right now, because there's been a lot of discourse based on how it ended. There is always a point in time, at the very least, that we can all agree on, that it gives a lot of people curiosity. And I can vouch for myself that I'm one of the fans that I definitely get pretty happy to know that there's more to the story that I love and that I grew up with. And obviously, I'm talking about the entirety of Dragon Ball. Gave us Vegeta and Bulma info. Yeah, honestly, I have to shout this one out just due to the simple fact that Toriyama is a goof to his core. Having no humor in anything Dragon Ball related, can you really even call it Dragon Ball if it doesn't have any of Toriyama's gags? That was a moment that I never expected we'd ever see, and it was something that I think a lot of fans will look at Vegeta differently now. We've known this character specifically to be a certain way, and I've said this in plenty of other videos and podcasts in the past, where Vegeta has had the most character development out of any other character in all of Dragon Ball. And to see him have a moment like that post Boo is something that threw all of us fans off, and it was actually really entertaining, and that's something that you gotta give some love and respect to. I like how they knew we had high expectations going in, and they duped us for a bit with unnecessary episodes, but then came in with a whole bang. Tamagami fights, introducing the foreshadowing to a new fusion in Super, Kid Super Saiyan 3, Vegeta, Goma becoming a challenge and boss for a few episodes, Super Saiyan 3 Chibi Goku, Kid Super Saiyan 4, remake of the "and this is to go even further" transformations, Adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku. The list goes on, but it's been an absolutely amazing ride, Uchi. All these things were a plus, along with the animation style and the character designs that were a significant improvement from Super. Yeah, even though I definitely said one thing, I had to highlight this one because this was a nice comment that basically jam-packed all of the big highs that I was talking about from before. Like, you know, Daima had his highs and his lows. This was a great comment to show off and to remind everybody that this was a really fun ride, and the experience that I'm sure the majority of us had throughout most of the ride that we were on was an enjoyable one. World building was great, but lacked the resolution that ties into the future. Moro should have appeared when Goku shot a hole through the demon realms. In the ship with Jacko, he feels a shiver down his spine of the demon magic while locked up. So I had to bring up a comment like this because I know that there were fans that really were hoping to see some sort of post-credit scene that involved a look into the future. And I would be lying if I said that I wasn't one of those fans, but I have that type of a forward-thinking brain where I'm always thinking of how a company that has the rights to Dragon Ball could possibly set themselves up for what we as fans are already waiting for. So to see some sort of a nod or a tease to something that is gonna happen way down the pipeline as far as the main continuity of Dragon Ball goes would have been phenomenal, and I'm sure that would have been the next big boom period for Dragon Ball in its entirety. Because let's face it, that Moro arc and the Granola arc that happened in the manga exclusively at the time of this video happened years ago at this point. It's almost to the point where I'm probably gonna have to reread these chapters on my live stream. Definitely want to check that out, link in the description below, so that we can get a refresher on what happened during those chapters. And I know for a fact that reading them in sequence in like a sitting will give us a better story told rather than how it was when you were reading it live or, you know, as they were coming out month to month. How crazy would it have been to have seen some sort of a moment where Goku putting a hole through the demon realms actually affected other characters or other beings that existed outside of the demon realm? I feel like if that was to happen, that would actually make the Super Saiyan 4 transformation in the main continuity, at least within Daima, a lot stronger than I'm sure a lot of people are making it. How the multiverse was created, the lore with the names and guilds, of course, Super Saiyan 3, Vegeta, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was personally one of my favorite moments that happened in Daima, where they expanded upon the already existing lore that was given to us in Battle of Gods and subsequently in Dragon Ball Super, where we have knowledge that there are other universes that exist, aka a multiverse, but how the multiverse was created was something I was not anticipating to see in Daima. So the fact that we did get it was really nice. Everything in this show is actually great. Only the continuity aspect isn't. Animation lore, the series as a whole is a great addition as essentially the arc that's after Buu Saga. Yeah, if you take out the continuity part, like completely turn your brain off, or maybe you're Japanese or you're from Japan where, you know, the ongoing, I don't even know if this is a joke, but this could just be a fact of life. Yeah, they don't care about canon, or they don't care about any kind of continuity as much as fans outside of Japan do. Yeah, the show is actually really great. I would personally say that the show from start up until the defeat of Giant Goma was great. But what happens after, I'm sure we're gonna get way more into when we get around to doing the negative things about Daima, but I'll leave that for when we get to there. Now, this next comment, they wrote a lot, but I will link the community post if you guys are interested in reading everything that they said. They had a lot of great things to add, but they did have a too long didn't read section, which I'm going to wrap up this video with just reading that. But again, if you want to read their entire comment, definitely check out the link to this community post in the description. Overall, TLDR, I appreciate Toriyama for giving us more reinforcement of the Journey to the West themes and the world building established in Z and Super with the concepts of Majin's, magic, and mortal development. And honestly, couldn't have said it any better myself. It is a blessing, and in a way, it is also, I feel like, a privilege to have gotten something else by the pen of Toriyama. And let's not forget, and maybe some of you might not even know, Toriyama wasn't really intended on being as involved as he ended up being for Daima, but because he had so much fun getting to add more lore and to really explore more of the demon realm, he started contributing more and more than what they were anticipating. And so it turned out to be like another, I guess you can consider it a passion project in a way, because he got to really do his thing. And I'm glad that he was able to do it. Despite how I might feel on how he decided to end things, I did enjoy Daima very much. Can't ignore it, and I have reaction videos to prove it. There's plenty of moments that happen where you guys already know it was crazy. And that's gonna do it for this video. A lot of great comments and a lot of responses, and I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos in this type of style. Make sure you are paying attention to any and all of my community posts that will get posted here on this channel, as well as anything that I may post over on my X, Twitter, and in my Discord. If there's any other direct discussion pieces that relate to Daima or about Dragon Ball that you may want to see me do in the future, then you can always check out my content suggestions channel within my Discord and drop whatever it is in there. And if it's good enough, and if there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, he definitely needs to do this, then I'll take it under consideration. And aside from that, if you haven't already, I know I mentioned it earlier in this video, but I've been streaming over on Twitch doing live reactions, and there are certain pieces of content from those streams that I will, of course, do YouTube edited versions. But in case you didn't want to see the edited versions and you wanted to just be a part of those streams and subsequently a part of the videos, then I definitely recommend you checking out that Twitch channel and the Patreon, because the VODs will be there. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys are looking out for whatever the next discussion videos will be, because there's a lot to talk about now that Daima is done, and there's a lot to look forward to as far as what we'll be reacting to in the future. And if there's anything anime related or just that you would want me to react to in person, like I mentioned with the content suggestions, make sure you are leaving those ideas in the comments for this video. Of course, make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing, and taking care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all in the next one.